This is the area where Brian Laundrie's family say they last saw him hiking. They reported him missing around September 14th, so it's been quite a while that they've been searching here. Before the rain starts, it is all about that preparation, and that's why we've got a steady line of people coming through. And then we also see incredible sights like this, which is 2 boats washed up on the beach here in Gulfport. He doesn't believe this is a terrorist-related incident, but you can see right here, there is an entire hole in the wall, and when you look on the other side of this hole, that is where the airplanes taxi. And I just want to come in here with some brand new information that we just got confirmed a minute ago. Divers are coming in to do some searches of the bodies of water inside the reserve, and the next minute it's a little bit lighter in wind, a little bit lighter in rain. That's what we're lucky to have at this exact moment. It's a great time to buy renovation supplies like paint. You could also save a few $100s on big ticket items like refrigerators, windows, doors. 7 p.m. against the lightning here at home with that dance move. Bring it, because it seems to be good luck. By Florida standards, it is a little chilly, so a lot of people were waiting in their cars until this moment, 30 minutes before the polls open, to get in line. When some people think of racism, they think of big, deliberate displays of discrimination, but oftentimes racism happens more subtly. Everyday racism often happens in the form of microaggressions. Microaggressions are subtle interactions, whether they're intentional or not, that create negative feelings towards marginalized groups. For example, an Asian American is told their English is perfect, but it's their first language. Or they're asked, "Where are you from?" And when the answer is one of the 50 states, it's followed by, "No, where are you really from?" Questions and statements like those imply that Asians can never be true Americans, that they'll always be outsiders. Microaggressions can also be presumptions based on stereotypes. The TV show Insecure tackled a lot of these examples.
Why don't more of them swim?
One of the ways we see casual racism clearly is through food. Many Asian American children have been told their food looks weird or their house smells really funny, like in this TV show clip from Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh, what is this? It's Chinese food. Get it out of here. Ying Ming's eating worms.
Maybe you've heard friends say they'll have a headache after eating Chinese food because of the MSG. Or you see menu items at a trendy new cafe that just appropriate Asian food terms without nodding back to their Asian roots. Talking about microaggressions is really difficult because nobody wants to admit they're being casually racist. So when it does happen, you have to decide if it's worth it to you to call it out. Dr. Ella Washington, an organizational psychologist and professor at Georgetown University, has some advice to your approach if you do decide to tackle that conversation.
We should be empathetic and, as much as possible, give grace to people when they've committed these microaggressions, and try to invite them into discourse. It's important to just first call it out, saying, "Hey, what you said isn't cool," and then offering that opportunity to educate and discuss by saying, "Okay, here's why what you said wasn't cool."
She says we need to start addressing casual racism in order to learn from it and to move past it. So much happened in this last year. We saw thousands of people all over the globe band together during a global pandemic to say yes, Black Lives Matter. People fought for police reform after the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. We saw people come together to support each other, but also to tear each other down. If we want to live in a world that Dr. King imagined, we have to recognize all of the hate that we saw this past year.
So no Asians can stay here.
COVID-19 was first identified in China, so people quickly started associating the virus with Asian people. That association manifested into verbal harassment, physical attacks, and blatant discrimination. It was happening, and is happening so often. A database called Stop AAPI, or Asian American and Pacific Islander Hate, was created.
3/4 of Asians in the U.S. have expressed fear of this bias. We have high rates of anxiety of just going out and being racially profiled as not only being infected with the disease, but being the disease. We've actually had people spray us with Lysol because they see us as the disease, as the infection.
Thousands of reports have been filed with Stop AAPI Hate since the pandemic started. Discrimination based on race is not the only kind we're seeing. We're seeing it based on gender, sexual orientation. The FBI says 20% of hate crime victims are targeted for their religion. Students at Yeshiva University, a predominantly Jewish school, were victims of anti-Semitic messages sent by trolls who infiltrated a Zoom call with the university's president just before Passover. But from all of the hate that we've seen, we also need to recognize the good that's stemming from it.
The fact that people, especially during this very difficult time and frightening time, are moving past their fears to stand up for one another, to speak out, that's a miracle.